Hey, welcome to Book Harlots. This is a discussion on the book Lover uh, Unbound. Oh my God, I almost forgot the name of the book. It's the other word. I am Norris. Uh,
I'm Eliza Mann.
And I'm Sadie Spelling.
We are
okay.
tripping over each other today.
I
Just
know.
ready to
I
go.
don't know what's up. We're just. Woo. Okay, ruthless and brilliant, vicious son of the bloodletter possesses a destructive curse and a frightening ability to see the future. As a pre-trans growing up in his father's war camp, he was tormented and abused. As a member of the Brotherhood, he has no interest in love or emotion, only the battle with the lessening society. But when a mortal injury puts him in the care of a human surgeon, Dr. Jane Whitcomb, compels him to reveal his inner pain and taste true pleasure for the first time, until a destiny he doesn't choose takes him into a future that cannot include her.
So sad.
Yeah. Well, let's get to our discussion questions.
Okay.
Was V sleeping with Jane? Well, I don't know if I want to go there. Do you want to go there first? I guess we can. Just really.
No, yeah, well, let's go back to the beginning. The beginning of time.
Well,
Oh, no,
let's
I
just
don't
jump
know.
in because we can backtrack if we have to. Because
Okay.
they're all kind of V related. So in the beginning here, so well, okay, I guess we can start with number two. So it's like V really came to terms with his feelings for Butch in this book.
Oh.
Do we agree?
Oh my God, such feeling. You want to go first, Sage?
Well, I think V and Butch both came to terms with their feelings for each other at this book. So it was, I think Butch made a comment to him saying, you only really felt like that for me, I think, because I was the first person you ever cared about. And in a lot of ways, I think that was true. But their relationship was really special, and it was kind of sad. It was almost like we're breaking up, but we'll still always be BFFs, type of thing. Mm-hmm. It was a really, really sweet breakup.
So I really think it stems back to him having such a tortured past and him not, drawing those lines for relationships. I think for V, a lot of it is that he just cares, about people. And if he loves you, then he fucking loves you. What man, woman, whatever you are. And then that trust is there. So I think Butch represented a lot of his first, right? So it was the first person that he trusted and that didn't hurt him. It was his first relationship that was kind of, independent of, constructs, like the brothers are his brothers because he's a part of the Black Dagger Brotherhood, but Butch was his man because his man, like his man, not his boyfriend, but he could have been. But I think it was the first time that someone liked him just genuinely and it was just really heartbreaking to watch him go through that. Like even at the very start of the book, it continued over from the end where we saw him, lose that part of their relationship because Butch was in love with Marissa and with Marissa. And then it carried over here where he was just kind of down in his feelings. Like he was in his feelings. And until, he met Jane, I think that was when he was ready to say, okay, I can see how unsustainable this is. And I really have to let him go. And it was hard to watch him go through those and have to come to those terms, in such a final way. So It was
I
good.
agree in that. Well, not watching them. You brought up Marissa, and that makes sense too, because it was almost like, you know, it was just me and my roomie. You know, me and my roomie were just hanging out. We're gonna have a drink. We're gonna watch some ball. Or, you know, me and my roomie, and then Marissa starts living with them. So then he ends up becoming a third wheel, and that made the whole dynamic even harder to deal with. Now, not only is the object of my affection in love with someone else, but now I have to watch it day in and day out, right? It's not, and in my house, like at the end of the day, that was his like area, right? That was his, you know, he was the one that was living right in my house. So it was I think that was difficult for him as well.
Yeah, it had to be. It had to be.
So, why do you think they kidnapped Jane? Was it just because V said so?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, if whatever my friend said do, and that's my road dog, I'm doing it. I thought about, like, okay, so V has visions and all of that, but Butch is aware that these visions have dried up. So it really had to be that they were like, okay, whatever you say, man, we just got to get your ass out of here. So we taking the chick. It makes perfect sense to me. We're gonna wipe everybody's memory, and then we get her and we kidnap her. And yeah, it was, and he was looking at them like, I'm not going and she ain't going. Like he was, and it was a bad situation. So I think, yes, they absolutely had to make that game time executive decision, and they rolled out with that lady in their truck.
I feel like, yeah, it was like they took her because V was like, I'm going anywhere without her. So, and they just didn't have time to argue with him.
Yeah, it wasn't even worth the fight. They're like, we'll deal with
45
that later.
minutes or some crap to get him out of there, or whatever they said when they were got to the parking garage or something. It had been like 40 minutes or something, some crazy number like that. So they were just, you know, plus V was still injured, you know, so it was probably part
they
of
needed.
probably
They
went,
did need her.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, like they like, and Havers is kind of not the favored person to take, you know, them too. So I think they probably were like, wow, she is doctoring on them. So so let's go ahead and take her.
So when Jane, you know, she gets kidnapped and she kind of starts to, you know, realize that, hey, they're not going to kill her, and you know, this guy, my patient, she was referred to him as the patient. You know, he was
kind of like that. I felt like that was hot.
You know, and so was she clinically curious? Is that why she wanted to stay and do, you know, she wanted to like study them, or was it something else?
I think the 6-chambered heart got her. Like she was like, 6 chambers, shit, ding dong. I hit the damn biological jackpot. So I think that's how it started. But I do think she was growing more and more attracted. Like she noticed he was attractive. She noticed his sexual anomalies that were occurring. And she did look at them in a clinical way, because she was like, wow, that was kind of a rough way to remove parts of his body. But I think she definitely did not miss how hot he was, and that he was doable if she could just bring him back.
Plus he had a baseball bat in his pajama bottoms.
It was a baseball bat. Still, okay, so listen, is V or Butch big? This is so like such a ridiculous question. Way too old to ask, but I'm gonna ask you: is V bigger or Butch bigger?
Well, you gotta remember who was who. Okay, so Marissa, we keep talking about Marissa's description, but Marissa's like, that was the first time she had ever seen one. So it was like, I think that's why we got so much vivid description.
I'm not. Listen,
you know, where Jane was like baseball bat. That's a visual image all on its own. It's not. She didn't say like a little league baseball bat. She said a baseball bat.
Listen,
baseball bat.
I think we use statements like baseball bat, eggplant, cucumber. We use these. But when there was she might as well have said it was a metric ton, right? Because she was like, it went from almost to her belly button. That is a length. That is a statement. It's a measurement.
She gave you a measurement.
That is figurative, right? It's figurative. Like that. Like
I'll let you have that. I'll let you have that because she gave us actual numbers.
Yeah.
She basically took out the pecker checker and mentally, and she gave us numbers. So I'll give you that.
But I do think that Marissa did have a little bit of like shock and awe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it's like, wow, they're that big? They look like that?
Gross like that.
Smooth skin, but hardcore.
So that was her first time seeing everything. Like she saw.
She was like, I didn't know it was black.
Right. Oh my God, that was so horrible. We're gonna go all the way back to that book and talk about poor Butch.
No, let's not. I'm sorry.
Okay, all right. Lesser blood. Jesus, oil slick. Okay.
So
I was ready to go with you. I was like, we can talk about
it. Jane seems to be able to read V well. This comforts V because she knows how to give him his dignity. Does she just because she has a good bedside manner, or she just is really in tune with him and she just, I don't know, I think she's an empathetic person personally, and I think that she just could see just by the look in his eyes, like when she would ask him a question about something and his eyes would just get flat, and she just knew to back off, and then she also knew when to push him. And I don't know, I think that I immediately like Jane because she's just like this straight up smart ass, stands up to be, doesn't give a shit, doesn't even know literally what mortal danger she goes in being in the, a nest of vampires basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I just think that she just, I don't know, maybe it's part of the, I think bonds are two-way too, and we already knew that he was having those feelings, so.
So you think she bonded to him in a way? Okay. I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Sage? What you thinking?
I think, obviously they're destined they were written in the stars, right? Because at a very young age, playing with a Ouija board, and the Ouija board says Vicious's name. He has been having visions. All his nightmares have been to that one moment where she gets shot. Mm-hmm. So they've been linked from day one. And I think the scribe virgin do that. I think she was the one that she said something about gifting her to him, but maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but all in all, they were they were leading up to being together. And I think she is able to deal with strong people, right? Strong men. She had a father that was very, very, we'll say strong and assertive and in a certain way, expecting the world to be in a certain way. So she's already she already knew how to cope with men like that. And then they talked about Manny. Manny was the physician that she was the only person that can talk to. And then Vicious, then with Vicious. So she has a way about her that is able to deal with men. And I think that's why, or strong individuals, because she's strong, Right. So I think that is why she has this ability to reach him. First, there's that star thing, all the stars aligned between them. And then she's just the type of person that's able to. Yeah.
And then it kind of goes to me like, V's attraction to her was because, I think she's like almost like a female Butch. She's a straight up smart ass. I mean, she would make him laugh. And how many people besides Butch would really make him laugh? Especially a female, and that she just stood up to him. She's just like, she's no nonsense. I liked her. So
yeah, I like that about her too. I don't think V had ever had that before. Because, you know, he's tall, he's got tats on his face, he's a sexual dominant. I don't think people stood up to him. I think it was surprising for him, even when he was unconscious, and she was like, "Don't you die on me." And he's like, and he's nodding, you know, and agreeing, like, "Okay, girl, I'm not gonna die." And I think that was such a shock for him that, you know, it does have that similarity to where Butch met him and he was kind of like, you know, getting in his face. And Butch was like, I'm not
backing down.
dog. You back the fuck up. And I think that same kind of personality is a thing for him. Also, she has short blonde hair. She's not extremely curvy. I think there are a lot of parallels between Butch and Jane, and the fact that he was just coming off a breakup. I don't think she was the rebound chick. I think she was absolutely meant for him. But that just speaks to how perfect Butch would have been had it not been that they were, you know, heterosexual.
And I kind of like the fact that when, you know, V is describing Jane, you know, he's like, she's, you know, she's not, you know, curvy, she's not particularly attractive, you know, she's not that she was unattractive, but she doesn't wear any makeup, she doesn't doll herself up, she's very low maintenance, and he's like, and she's a fucking beauty queen. You know, and I just like that was really cool. Like, it didn't matter, none of that stuff mattered to him. He was just like, you know what, I like what I like. To me,
I have we have a good friend that's like, oh, you know, you got to be fucked in the ears, you know, like when you're and I think for V, Jane definitely fucked him in the ears. Like, she was so smart and so intelligent and able to, like, verbally spar with him. And I think that did some things for him. And I don't think he's, like, you know, this extremely, like, damn near Mensa type person. And she's able to, like, keep up with him and be like, you know, and what? And I think that got him off almost as much as if she were physically with him. So I definitely think that was, like, a big part of it, of his attraction, of their relationship.
So what do you think of their sex?
And the sex. Woo! Oh my God. Okay, so you go. Say, I gotta let you go first, because, you know, this be my homeboy and it'll be all night. You go.
I think you should go first, because I'll cut you off.
Okay, so when he was doing that whole, like, he had already been with her mentally and in her dreamscape, and she was like, I don't want to do this in a dream. Let's do this for real. And she was like a caged animal pacing around that bathroom when he came in there and grabbed that girl around her waist and, like, ripped her. I was like, oh my God. And for a minute, I was, like, worried for her. You know, we were with her, like, every step of the way. But when she got quiet, I'm like, fuck, is she all right? She like, that was amazing. I'm like, girl, yes, that was amazing for me too. It was the best. I really believe that even though Butch has the, I think he has the bigger member. I think he won that battle. But that motion of the ocean that V got, baby, I think that is, like, the best sex that I have read in that series all the way up until now. I don't know how y'all feel about it.
Well, I also think it was definitely the hottest, right? Definitely the hottest. But I also really like the vulnerability that he showed only for her, right? So he, before that, it would just be the table. He'd have whatever girl he wanted, do whatever he wanted to do to them. They never saw him. They never touched him. They never, you know, like, he was completely covered and sealed between them. But with her, he literally took off all his guard.
Yeah.
You know, like, his, you know, he was the one that was naked, like, emotionally and physically naked. And I love that he shared that with her, and that she wasn't freaked out about it either. Like, she saw the stuff and she was like, "Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah, she
Yeah,
okay. So what do I do now?" You know?
I think
Oh,
the
gosh,
biggest part
okay.
had.
Yeah.
I
I
think
mean,
the
he
biggest
was
part of
like
that
painting
had to
his
be.
ass, dripping wax on his ass. I mean,
Yes.
Well, so
and
that was it, right? That was the biggest part, even beyond the the 10 Richter scale level sex they were having. He became a sub for her, and he had previously explained, I'm a dominant and that's how I roll. But when he became a sub for her, even the act of, willing to be masked, willing to put the ball gag in, he like, do whatever you need to do, and you control it. That handing over the reins was something that was unprecedented, because I don't think he would have been able to do that for anyone else. Like that was off the charts.
it was like a true act of love, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And he did it, as he explained, he was doing it because he wanted to show her how much he trusted her, and just
Yeah.
how he just, how much he was in love with her, It just was a true act of love. It was cool. Aww.
Yeah.
She's like cracking the whip.
Yeah, I loved it. I think the psychology of because he's probably one of the he is such an enigma for so many reasons. Like, even now, like, even we've read every book in this series maybe a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
Even now, and we're not going to talk about it, but he is still this person that makes you think, what is he going to do next? And what is he thinking? And he's the one that you can't figure out,
He's the wild card. Out of all the
time.
brothers, he is really, really the wild card.
But at the same time, it's like, what I really like about him is his honesty. He's always honest. Like, no matter what. And there's times where I thought he was going to straight up lie to Wrath about something, and he doesn't. I can't remember.
Yeah, his favorite statement is true.
It's just, he just doesn't, like, I don't even know what book, because, I'm not going to say, because it doesn't really matter what it was or what it was about, but I just remember there were a couple of times where I was like, he could have lied, maybe should have lied, just because it would have benefited him, and he doesn't. And that's why I just think that I just love that about him. So, especially,
I think it's interesting that he never like he could have, and he in a way he can be manipulative, right? I think he can almost be as manipulative as someone like Revenge, right? Because I think he has a way of getting people to say, what he needs to know, and all of those, even without his Jeez, so Pete. Even without his psychic ability, I'm sorry, I was messing with my computer. Even without his psychic ability, he has a way of figuring out people and getting them to say what he wants them to say.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We love
him. Yeah, we do love him.
So what was I? Okay. So, what gets to the point in the story where, what just happened to all the questions?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to see. I'm like, why did my questions disappear? There they go.
Okay, God, that scared me.
That was scary. I'm like, was it just me? Nobody else is freaked. I'm freaked out right now.
I don't even look at it.
I know, you just like, I know the right words.
Get to a point in the story where, V has to let Jane go.
Mm-hmm.
And he scrubs her. And it doesn't really take. She has these very vivid dreams, almost waking dreams in a way. I think part of it was, and this is my impression, was that after he scrubbed her the first time, and he leaves her in her condo, and there's still the hot chocolate, the remnants of the hot chocolate. And then she goes outside, she looks outside and she sees this dark figure. And it was almost like he was doing that because he knew it was going to be like an Easter egg for her, and she would still, like he wanted to leave something of himself behind, even though he knows he couldn't. And he just left these little like clues for her, and it almost in a way tortured her, But part of it, I think, also was her strong mind. She's just so intelligent that she just,
I think it's a little bit more than that too. So when the heart and mind, when you're in love, right? The heart and mind.
Well, the emotions are still there. They can't scrub.
Right. So I think that it just kind of shed light on that idea where you can tell your mind something, but if your heart feels something,
right,
you're still gonna feel it. You can try to wipe out the memory or think positively or whatever the case may be, but that broken heart is still a broken heart. And I think that was really special to me to see, even though it was sad to see, but it was also special. I like that significance of that between them.
Yeah, her being so distraught even after, like, when she went to run for him, like, she saw him out the window and she was like, I gotta go get this guy. And when she went to do it and like crumbled into the floor, she almost gave herself like a seizure. Like, she was like down there for a minute, like, but no, I gotta go get this man, even though it hurts. And, as you see, when there is mind control, a lot of times they'll just be like, now what was I thinking? She was like persistent with it. Like, she was waking up crying. It was a lot. And I do think it was that he had, they were each other's destiny. I also think it was a strong mind, but a little bit of me is like, whatever was telling her that Vicious was her mate, maybe that was something that couldn't be impacted by the scribe virgin. It couldn't be impacted by Vicious's mind control. It was just destiny, and that part of it is relentless, and it won't let it like go away. So I was really intrigued by that, and I don't think we had seen that before. Like,
no, she was physically ill, right? She thought she had the flu. She was physically ill from not knowing why, right?
Yeah.
She had no clue why.
Yeah. She was just like mopey. She just like, and so she just thought it was the flu because she just was so distraught. I know, it was so, because they've always said that in the books, you can't scrub away the emotions. And so it can mind fuck somebody, because, especially if they have a strong mind, because they cannot figure out why. They know something's wrong, but they can't figure it out, or they have a clue, but can't really get to the heart of it.
Yeah, the same thing we kind of saw with Manny too, where he was kind of feeling like, the fuck, there's something there.
So he has breakup sex with her. And she was sleeping. Now, was it a violation that he did this? I'm thinking no, because he was always honest with her at the beginning. It was almost like she already gave him permission, like he always said, hey, you're not, like, even before they had sex the first time when she was awake, he had always told her, I'm going to scrub you. You're not going to remember anything. So I just feel like, he's just taken that one step further maybe than he should have, but it was breakup sex. It was, this is my goodbye to you. You
go say, because
I know you're, okay, and I'm going to say this first before you guys attack.
Okay, all right.
I love Vicious. I love their love story. I love them.
Yeah.
But he left her not knowing, he didn't do it intentionally, because he was like, oh shit, I did this. But he left her with still the residue of their lovemaking. And she woke up thinking, first, she didn't remember having sex. Then she thought she had sex with her boss. Then she didn't know who she had sex with. And she thought she was losing her mind. Like, it was really bad to, like, it would have been better to have her think she had, like, I don't know, have her remember, let her shower, and then go back to sleep. Something like have her be at least conscious in that way. I think it was kind of shady, and it's something that takes me back to what I said before, long time ago, about Butch, him possibly doing this to Butch because he did it to Jane. That's where I got the idea from. I knew it came from somewhere.
It was a lot. It was a lot about V. It was a lot about V that was it was revealed to me. I think I just forgot a lot of the shit that V has done in his life and who he was, because I felt like this book was like, oh, that's where I got that from. Oh, that's why I think that about V. You know, and I couldn't remember it. It's such a dense book, and it's such a psychological profile on this dude Vicious, and it's a lot. But I don't think, and I think that V has done some shady shit. I think he will always do shady shit because he's just one of those people that, like, the end justifies the means sometimes for him. I don't think he means harm. But with this, I just feel like he kind of, like, if she were conscious to him, she would have said yes. And when he was telling her, you know, she would remember him in a dream. I feel like that was in a way, like, he already came to her in a dream, you know, and she knew fully about that. And she was like, oh, that's all right. Because remember, he had sex with her. He had dream sex with her before. So she wasn't opposed to it. And I don't think she would have turned him away. And even in her sleep state, she did not reject him.
No, she didn't. She recognized his sense. She recognized all of that. And she wanted, she didn't reject it. I really wish that he gave her the ability to be like, all right, I'm going to do this one more time. Then I'm going to wipe your brain again. Here, memories. Okay, let's do this. And I'll take it away. I just wanted her to, you know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like I wanted her to be conscious of her. Yeah, like I do. I kind of wanted that. Just to show how much she did care. You know what I mean? Like, okay, one more time. Even though I won't remember it, one more time. You know what I mean? I wanted her to have that.
I mean, you know, I just think, you know, as a person who understands the dynamic of breakup sex, not saying that I've had breakup sex before, it is usually one of those things where you're like, God damn it. I shouldn't have done that. You know, like, I mean, I think I'm somebody's grandmama now, so that doesn't happen anymore. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like V didn't intentionally go over there and be like, I'm gonna have sex with
100% agree.
No, he just wasn't planning anything. I don't think.
Yeah, no, he wasn't planning on doing anything.
No,
I know that.
No,
right.
And I feel like it just kind of happened, and I feel like, you know, he was in that moment of like, I just gotta do this one more time. This is where it's at, and all the common sense leaves with breakup sex all the time, and y'all know the breakup sex and the breakup sex stories. I don't have to go, but I feel like that's what happened. I feel like he was like, shit, I shouldn't have done it.
He did, and she did. And when she found out it was like she wasn't going crazy and what actually happened, she wasn't upset. So I'm not saying that, but when you look,
I hear you.
The actual thing, it was to me a slight violation.
I feel like most breakup sex is a bad idea. So
I say it was a bad idea. I'm not saying it was a bad idea. I'm saying that to do it was for him. Never mind. Let's forget it.
I hear you. It's a violation. I hear you. I hear you. And I think under normal circumstances he would have probably thought that through better. But it was breakup. it was the end, and he was like, I gotta do it. It's one more time.
Okay, I know that there's a lot of things.
Parts.
I know there's a lot of things that happen between, you know, Jane being killed by the lesser, but I kind of want to touch on that, and then we can go into the whole Kamali thing and all that crap. So, because I think that has a lot to do with Fury more than anything, and So so it was just like that whole, that everything, like that vision, that nightmare that V had, he didn't really understand. He just remembers the blood and red hair and pain in his chest, and he was thinking that it was like a physical, like I was shot kind of pain, not realizing that it was emotional pain that he was feeling. And like that was a whole accumulation of this horrible nightmare, that and realized, and he knew it right before, like 5 seconds before, he thought, oh yeah, this is that dream, this is that nightmare. And it was just like and there was nothing he could do to stop it, not a thing. It was just the saddest moment. Oh my God, my face is leaking. I'm gonna tell you.
Did it feel like it was longer? For me, it felt like that was the longest scene, and I'm like, please stop. You know, it's bad because you already kind of know, like what you know what's gonna happen. You might not remember it verbatim, but it was so long. It was so hard. I don't know. It was so sad. Jesus.
And then he tried to keep it together by staging that car accident and everything, but then he just basically loses it. But we'll get into that.
But were you with me on that? Because I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember what he was doing, why he was driving the car like that. I couldn't remember any of it. And I'm like reading it, and I'm like, "What are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Stop it!" Like, I was so scared.
Saying, that hey, take her to the hospital. This is how she got. How's he going to do that? He can't. So. And he has to hide that it was a lesson too, because I mean, if he'd done anything other than that, like, it's not like he could go to the police, because then there would be an investigation and the whole thing. You couldn't. There's no way. So he had to do something, and for her loved ones to know, like that, that something happened to her. So I almost like it felt like almost like some man he could mourn. I don't know, in a way, it was like.
Yeah, and everybody, right? Well, her parents and family was dead, but like she had friends at the hospital, people who loved her at the hospital that she worked with. Like that was her whole life. So I agree. I think it was probably so everybody could, like let her go. Yeah. Because that was a lot. I feel like that was the longest goddamn thing. But I was with you, Sage. I was like, what now? Why did he do the car thing? Because
I couldn't remember. I'm like, where are we going? Like,
I do love that there are times when in every book that I've read, there are things that I forgot, that it's so nice to revisit and it feels like brand new. So like that car scene, it was just, I think I forgot their sexual chemistry. So it was really,
I didn't remember their BDSM scene being that involved. Like, me. I was like, well, can his ass, like, well, I
was like, later, we read later, right? And I'm like, I don't remember them being so hot. Like, they became like grandma and grandpa.
I mean, and he had vanilla stuff in it too.
I was like, wait a minute. I felt everything that he did. Like, it was brand new. Like, you know how you just, I was like, whoa, this got dark. Because when he took her back, this is totally not the question, but when he took her back and they were in that room in his loft, and I was like, wow, this is a long drawn out. It was so beautifully done, and I did not remember her writing. I didn't remember the BDSM parts being so delicious at all. Period.
So then he takes her to the tomb.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I'm sorry. We were all the way at her dad's. My bad.
No. I mean, I brought it up.
I'm back now. I'm back together. I'm sorry.
I brought it up. So it was just this whole, he wants, he wants to turn her into a lesser, but not really realizing, like, hey, she's gonna be your enemy, and he just like, no, our love will, shine through. And it's like, no, honey, you put evil into her body. That's not going to happen. Yeah. And the Sky Virgin was like, no, you can't do that. And, you don't understand the consequences you're doing. And then he's like, oh, I'll make a sacrifice. I'll cut off my good hand, and it was just like his mother's like, no,
Oh
and
my God.
and then asked her, so he couldn't do it, you know, asked her body, so he couldn't, and
Well, I think he was thinking because he said something like, I help her like I help Butch. So he thought he'd be able to
yeah.
take the evil out of her like he was able to do it for
But then
Butch.
she wouldn't be animated anymore, if you're going to do that, because that's the lesser blood that animated the bodies,
Yeah.
so it's like, that's not going to work, so.
I think he was just, again, he was so like shook with her, like from the earlier scene we were talking about with the sex. He was very much into permissions and all of those types of things with women. He totally disregarded that. And had sex with her while she was sleeping. He totally disregarded the fact that Butch had, warrior blood in him. And that's the reason that, and he's a part of a prophecy, which Jane is not. Like, all of that was escaping him at the moment. And I think,
yeah.
I think it was just, he was so desperate to have her. The first thing that could totally be his, because even with his love with Butch, that he couldn't have that because Butch is heterosexual. So for him to finally get some piece of joy and for it to be ripped away from him, because they had been together a relatively short amount of time.
Right.
Like this for this book to be so thick, who has it available?
It was like a weekend. It was like a
Thursday.
It was like a Thursday to a Monday.
And it was yes. So yeah. I was like, he was gone on her, and that is just, I don't think he was thinking straight. I think, there was no way that with him being that much in love with her that he was going to make solid decisions. Now, I do feel messed up that she turned her into dust. Mm-hmm. I thought he was going to take her out of the game. I was like, he going to get his mommy. You already sprung on him that you, with your all-seeing, all-knowing, omniscient self, let him stay at the warrior camp for his young adult, all the way to transition. Like, what the fuck? And then you're actually gonna you let me walk in here. You took her away from me, and you turned her into dust. I thought she was done for. I really.
But he also knew her power because she already put him down on the ground. Like.
Yeah, but V wasn't thinking.
Yeah. Oh no, I know. I agree.
Yeah, V wasn't thinking at all. I felt terrible for him. It was just, this book was really.
Well, so did she though. So did she. But so did she, right? So she doesn't seem like the type that will make a sacrifice for anyone, right? But the scribe virgin, right? Yeah. So, even though she dusted Jane, she found a way to bring her back for him, and that was kind of.
She was very like, this is everything is my fault because and she she's really into that balance, the good and bad, and it was like when she procreated her kids, Butch and V and Pain, she didn't make a sacrifice. So she's like, oh well, I did this, I got these children, this is a good thing for me, but I never did something to counterbalance it. And so she felt like everything that she did and all these choices came down to this one moment, like it was all her fault. And I don't necessarily agreeing with that,
but I think she did sacrifice. If you look at she gave the child, I'm not really sure what happened to Pain, but I know she gave Vicious to the bloodletter, and he was tortured. That was her sacrifice. She sacrificed to have. She had the child, but she also gave him away. That was the sacrifice.
I felt like she thought she was sacrificing, like, at the very beginning, because she thought that the bloodletter was a vile creature. And she sought out that type of male, and she suffered his sex. It almost killed her. Remember, as she explained it, that, he almost took her out of the game. Because he was a very violent man, and he went again and again and again. And and was almost, her words were, he was almost too much for her earthly frame. So he was, I think she felt like that was the sacrifice. And that was it. But I think in a lot of ways, up until that moment where she kind of opened her eyes and took a look at the suffering that Vicious was going through, you know, and I don't even know that she opened her eyes fully to the Chosen and their suffering until later on. And then it was in that, noting that she wasn't exactly doing everything correctly, that she realized that, hey, and I also have this daughter over here, Pain, who, you know, she hasn't seen anything either. Because she just, I think she was just oblivious and thought, okay, if I make a sacrifice and if we have this give and take, this yin and yang, everything is all good, but it's not. And I think that that was a lot of the problem that I had with her, like all the way through a lot of the series, because she saw things as her way and her way only. You know, she had this weird thing about men that she, you know, it seemed like she was almost degrading to them. She didn't let the Chosen even have the benefit of color, you know, and Pain was just locked away in that crystal ass palace. Like, what the fuck? Like, I feel like she just, you know, it was that was that first moment that she realized that she could possibly do anything wrong.
Well, and that's the thing, when she, you know, she went in after, you know, realizing this whole thing with V, and like really feeling it's her fault that, you know, her son was suffering, you know, from this loss of his mate, and like she goes in and she looks at Pain and she, you know, kind of sees like, what have I done? You know, I think she's kept questioning herself, you know, maybe not as much as we want her to be, but you know,
well, she's a god.
Why she locked her up is because that she was aggressive. You know, that was really, I mean, we find out later what the story is with Pain, but it's like, you know, and actually we find out more about it when it's her book, but it's like, yeah, we just know that she was aggressive and she didn't know what to do with her, basically. She was afraid for her and afraid for other people because she didn't understand her, I think. Maybe she can't read children very well. I don't know. I mean, she feels their emotions thousandfold, but she doesn't necessarily know what they're thinking and feel, you know, what they're thinking. So
I think I do think you're right about that, because I think a part of her having kids was that she was the vision, her omniscient viewpoint of them is gone.
Right.
You know, because you know, she couldn't tell what Vicious was going to do, and I think that really fucked with her a bit, because she was like, "You gonna marry Cormia because I said so, damn it." And I think she thought, like, a part of her thought that he was gonna fall in line. But anybody that observes V should have been able to see that he's not really a person that takes orders without having some rationale behind them. Well, and he never even, like, you know, he was never the guy that like respected all the traditions and upheld like the scribe virgin in the way that somebody like Fury would. You know what I mean?
That's why it was like her choosing him as the Famali was just very strange. It was like that maybe was her intention from the very beginning.
Yeah.
You know, but not taking into consideration the life that he led and the things that he did and saw, and you know, it's like he was not Pramali. He's not caring enough. You know, the Pramali needs to be somebody, at least in my opinion, would need to be somebody who is empathetic. I mean, not that he's not, but just he's, you know, that's no way. He couldn't handle having 40 kids. Like, that would kill him, you know, because he's so, you know, his emotions are not something he can, you know, he contends with very easily. So, you know, it's like she's totally oblivious to his thoughts and feelings on anything.
He was. And even if she can't see him, his behavior. Like, his behavior is not that of a person that I would say, oh, he's going to be patient enough to deal with 40 different women and all of their personalities in this plain-ass vista of nothing. And he's going to be okay with that. Like, you
I think that was her plan. It was her plan. It was her plan that she never decided to change after things didn't go her way, right? It was her plan for him to be the Pramali when she created him with the bloodletter, but not realizing that she would have to give the baby up, right? And not realizing what that would do to him as an individual. So I think when she went ahead, when she made that, and then as she saw what, V turned into, she didn't change she didn't derail her plans. She's like, I'm almighty. You guys are going to do what I say. And, talk, you look warrior, do what I say. And that was her like tone with everyone. And I think it bugged her even more was that she couldn't see the future, because V's future was tied to her future. And that's why they were both like losing their visions. So,
right.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So, but she does wind up doing one act of kindness, which was to sacrifice her birds that she loved that kept her company, that were her friends, basically. Her loves, the birds, and she gives them up so she can bring Jane back and for V. And I thought it was a sweet thing to do. And then he, in turn, when he realized, that it was the birds that she gave up, because he knew how she felt about them. He brought her a present. He brought her some birds, and just thought that was it was nice. He didn't do it, but he just
I think it was nice and vicious. It surprised me. That was another one that I forgot. I think it was really nice of him, but it was the least she could do, right? Like. It's the very least she could do.
Well, he felt like she felt like she ruined his life. So
right. Yeah, and so I don't know. Do you guys think that she did it just so that V would maybe one day forgive her, or did she really realize that she had screwed this man and his life up? Like, he had one ball. And there is significant debate over whether or not the rest of his shaft was damaged.
There's no debate.
That believes that the rest of his shaft was damaged. I feel like they ripped it off in the pipe. Anyway, we're not going down this. We're not going to have this argument again. But I feel like there was a lot of damage to his parts.
Oh my God!
He never really had love. He never really had, love, and didn't know how to receive love because of her action. So yes, you should have gave up those damn birds. And you have so many other things up there with you, Scribe Virgin, to love, like the 40 chosen you got sitting around up there in this grayscape. Your daughter Pain is there. Like, you got a lot of shit to love. Like, seriously. I'm glad you gave up the birds. Thank you for that. Finally.
And then, and V always thought his hand was a curse, his glowing hand, and now he can use that to be close to Jane. So she becomes corporeal without having to think about it, concentrate, because she came back as a ghost. So.
Did y'all remember that? I didn't remember that part.
Yeah, I remember that.
I remember the hand.
I didn't remember the hand part. I remember she had to think.
Concentrate,
hard. Yeah.
But not when she was with V, though, because that was,
I didn't remember it was the hand. I remember it was, his touch, but I didn't remember it was like his glowing hand.
His hand. But he just around them, so it's not like, he has to, he doesn't have to concentrate on it. He just has to do it.
No, he can just touch her, but she doesn't have to concentrate around him or work hard. I thought that was super romantic, though. That was like he had called it his curse, and the Scribe Virgin was like, "It is your gift, Gloria," and it was just really nice to see it actually be a gift.
It's funny that she thought it was a gift.
All the time. She's like, this is perfect. Like, what are you talking about? You glow.
Yeah, you have a gift.
You fucking unicorn. What are you talking about? Like, why did you feel happy about that?
I appreciate it. So,
look at me. I glow.
Let's go on to with a couple, because I know you'll come up again, so it's okay. So, how did you feel about Fury turning into the monster that he called Datus? Him seeking pain, him, slicing up a lesser and leaving him, just he just being, he's just all over the fucking place. Like, he's just nuts. Like, he makes me nuts in this book. Like, I just, and it just makes me nuts.
He was losing it. Bless his heart. He was. You're right. He was everywhere. But yeah, I think Sage, you brought up an interesting point about that. Like, everything that he said about his brother was what he became, and he had to understand that. What was it that you said? I can't remember.
It's just that he had to. It's almost like everything that he said about Z, from him being a monster to doing all these things to cheering up the lessers, doing all that. It felt to me that he was turning it to have to. It's like he had to deal with everything his brother went through to almost come out from the other side,
Right.
And it's almost like it also feels like a little bit of karma. Like, I'm like, here, feel this that you were talking about Z about. I want you to feel it. And he did. And
that was his comeuppance, though, right? Karma is a bitch.
It is.
Yeah. So was he in love with Bella, or just the idea of,
I think it's the idea. I think it's the idea. So I think he fixated on Bella because it's something that he can put all his emotions on, but it's off limits. So he doesn't have to risk himself and put himself out there to get hurt. And I think it's just in the same thing with volunteering to be the Pamali. He doesn't have to fall in love with the Chosen, right? He doesn't have to actually put himself out there. It'll be a TBS. Yeah.
You just be their savior. I think a lot of it.
Yes, their savior.
This is completely.
He's not their savior. You know what I mean?
No, I think he wanted to be, though. Like, he was very into. He had this hero complex that he was dealing with, and I think a lot of it went back to how his parents kind of locked themselves away from him when when Z was taken, and his father was trying to get him back, and he was like, I'm going to get him back, and you guys are going to appreciate me, and I think in a lot of ways he lived his life that way.
Always trying to please somebody.
Always trying to please, a people pleaser, and trying to get, that value externally because he doesn't value himself. So I think a lot of it had to do with that, and very much, in that case with Bella, she was something that he was fixated on, and without Z needing him, without Bella, what did he have? So, I think he just was like, shit, I still got to hang on to this a little bit longer because I have nothing else, Yeah. And it's horrible.
Well, I don't think that I think he wanted to become the Pramali to save V. I don't think the Chosen he really wanted to stay. Well, I mean, later there's something happens, but I think at first he just like, I don't really have to attend to them. I can just fuck them and be done. And I don't have to. I mean, literally, that's the job. The job is not protecting the Chosen. That's not protecting.
No,
at that point, it was not.
But it was protecting V.
Yeah, he was protecting.
It was helping V, and it was getting that value assignment. That look at Fury. Look how awesome Fury is. Not only does he look good and have great hair, but he also saves everyone. Fury saves the day again, and it was to the point. It was damn near his demise. That need to be, perfect and be the one, the savior, because he got his ass handed to him in that alley, and I don't know. I think he would have been content with that for a minute, just going out and fighting lessers and, getting his value from that piece of it,
He's just nuts.
He was balls out crazy in this book. I don't know. I felt so bad.
So what do you think about the first, when they tried to do the chosen ceremony, the Pramali ceremony, I mean, he ultimately stops it, but when Fury has to witness her, so he has to look at Cormia, the first mate, and she's all dolled up and looking sexy. She's like a sheer, gown, so you can see all her curves, all her, her junk, everything, all her fits, and he gets instant hardy. Like, this is not something he normally did. V didn't. He's just like, I don't want anything to do with this. Yeah, she, whatever. I mean, sure, he thought that she was attractive, but he's not. He wasn't into that. He was.
Yeah, he was also in love.
Yeah, he was in love, but it was like, but he doesn't do that. The only other person he was attracted to, or seemed to be attracted to, was Bella. So for him to have that kind of reaction, it was like, there's something going on in that boy's head. So, well, and then the second time, when he goes through with the ceremony, but obviously ultimately does not consummate it, because Cormia is frightened. But we'll talk more about the direct tricks. But about having to be strapped to this board and then a sheet blocking her view of what's going to happen to her body potentially. God, how frightening is that? And, Fury at first was attracted to her, was thinking about taking her, and, he was like, mine. He even had that thought that actually was on the page where he said mine. So obviously there's a bond starting there. He's denying it completely. He's like, he's like a river in Egypt. He's denying. No way am I feeling this way. I don't know if because he's so drugged out and so chill from the red smoke or what. And then, of course, he does that whole savior thing because he sees that she's scared. And he's just like, okay, no. I'm not doing this right now. So, and then he also goes back to the mansion, but
he's interesting in that scene when he goes into the temple and sees her there. I did feel it did endear me, because he had been getting on my nerves a little bit the entire book. But it was kind of nice when he was like, oh, something ain't right, even though he had, the erection and the result of the incense that, will make you hard. And
I don't think it was
like
that.
bonding. I mean, the incense were there. So as soon as even before he saw her.
Yeah, but that's not what makes you hard. It's the salve. He didn't put any salve on.
I think they said in the book the incense.
Well, it's sensual.
The incense aids the consummation. So they do have a purpose there.
It's arousing. It's arousing.
Yeah, it's arousing.
But
and
he actually smelled her.
Yeah.
So
he smelled her fear. He smelled her fear.
No, but he also smelled, because she smelled like jasmine. And
he smelled the jasmine, but he was hard as soon as he hit the dough. And I think a little bit of that was, he remembered who she was, because he was hard earlier for her too.
Yeah, I think he remembered. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how could you forget, right? So he was like anticipating it, and I think the fact that when he could tell she was crying, and at the time. He thought she was just like mildly crying and fearful. He didn't see all the contraction and the gag that was the gag that was in her mouth, and she was, and that was like the first time in the book I was like, oh, Fury, please release her. And he was doing it, and I was like, thank you, Fury, because that was like he had been getting on my damn nerves, and it was just so like. That's the part of Fury that everybody loves, right? The fact that he does have that need to take care of everyone. And Cormia is a woman that very much needs to be taken care of, like for a change.
Yeah. It's funny you bring up that ball gang, because I totally forgot about that gagging. So do we think that the Directrix was responsible for tying her up like a prize sow? And ball gagging her, like to scare her into failing, so the Pramali would just be like,
I thought in the book somewhere it mentioned that she was that without a Pramali there, she was
second in command.
Right. Yeah, she was second in command, and they hadn't been used in so very long.
Yeah.
You know,
She was power.
I think she was capable of anything because she didn't want to go back into that subservient role. I don't know if the directrix becomes another chosen.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
they choose another one.
So she just becomes like one of the broads, and I don't think she wanted that at all. So I think she was responsible for a lot of things, and you know they didn't say this, and I don't think they ever said it, but I really believe that you know she could have been responsible for the previous finale, like the civilians breaking in and killing him. Like I don't know, she was just evil and capable of any kind of shady shit. In my opinion. So I don't know what that bitch did. She was terrible. And I think everything that happened, you know, negative to the chosen in this book was her fault. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, she could kill somebody, try to kill somebody. So of course, you know, it's like it's not too far fetched that she could totally. And yeah, I just can't.
She was raggedy.
She was.
What you think, Say?
Horrible. Yeah, she was horrible. I mean, to go, she shot Vicious. She just did not want him to come. Yeah. I mean, that was just absolutely horrible. The way she talked to the girls, she wanted the control. You can tell that the Sky Virgin just lets her do whatever the heck she wants. So she just does her thing, and she was having a good old time, and she did not want no dude to come in and take over things. She didn't want another. So like. Cormia would become like the head wife, right? The head woman. So she would probably be, you know, underneath even her, right? So that like would probably drop her down 2 more notches, right. You know, instead of 1. So she just wasn't.
Yeah, I think she wanted somebody that was weak, and I think they mentioned it too. I'm sorry, I've been reading these books like that, but I believe they mentioned that she was. You know, that was one of the reasons or Cormia suspected that was one of the reasons that she had been picked, because she had this individuality, this notion of being not a part of, but being, you know, an individual in her own right. And I think she very much desired that. And she was hoping that she would fuck it all up. Like, if I can't shoot him, she gonna fuck it all up too, you know. Yeah. I think that was the goal.
Yeah. So after, because Cormia did want to be, she thought it was wrong to want to be an individual, but she just felt like there was something, a different, I don't know, maybe she thought she had a different purpose, or she just, you know, she just didn't want, she didn't want the things that were supposedly her birthright, you know, she just wanted to be herself, wanted to make her own decisions, and she wanted to be an individual.
Well, they lack so many. They just don't have any individuality. Like, I mean, they're like, "What's your name?" Chosen. Yeah, no, what's your actual name? You know.
Yeah.
And I don't think so horrible. They're.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think she was.
I thought
you don't think they bothered what?
I was saying.
No, go ahead.
All right. We're doing well tonight, y'all. I was saying that she's very different than Layla, because Layla's whole mission was to get in there, get laid, get that blood
done.
You know, and I think because she's a Euros, is it Euros? Ethros? I can't remember.
Euros,
I'll look it up. Yeah, so we'll look it up, y'all, and get y'all the right pronunciation. But I think she had a different level of training, but just her whole demeanor was different than Cormia, and all of the chosens that we had met up to this moment.
Yeah,
it was.
They're just so sheltered. They don't even like Cormia had never even seen a male before. I mean, come on, you know, it's like. But not even her own, you know, just weird. It's just, it's so sickening. I just want to, like, they're like brood mares, you know. This is what you are, you're cattle. I'm just going to, like, tie you up and you're going to get fucked, and then you're going to have a baby that you don't get to raise yourself. It was the way that you, as a mother, would, I mean, everything is taken from them. They
Yeah.
have no choices.
So
Chosen
very
is
much
like an
like,
oxymoron. It's not even, they're not chosen. They're
no.
imprisoned.
Right.
Yeah, it's like the Handmaid's Tale. I don't know if you guys read
Yeah.
that or watched that
Yeah.
show, but it's
Okay.
their life is very much like that, where everything is, you are there just for service. And I saw that parallel between the red robes that the handmaidens wear and the red robes that they were standing there dressed in when Fury came in for the ceremony. They were all like this wash of just sexuality, and there was nothing else to them. Like, that was it. And it's striking when you see it. In my mind, it's vividly like there. Like, I'm like, Jesus. Like, they almost always are described as blonde women. I think they have some brunettes,
There's red hair, redheads, and blonde.
yeah, like, but it's just, it almost seems like paint swatches, like in one color family. Like, you just go and pick the one that you want, and it just sounded so tragic. Their whole lives has been tragic, and I don't know. It's very unfair for the scribe virgin to have them just sitting up there waiting to be plucked off a vine.
And then Fury pisses me off again, though, because he just can't help himself. So when he brings Cormia back home to the mansion, and he has a wet dream that she's very much a participant in it, and she's stroking him, she's kissing him, she's just all up in this. She just wants this, like
she was all up in it.
She was like thirsty. and Fury winds up waking up and being like, okay, well, you need your own room because I've overwhelmed you. And just being like, this is you don't want this. You want to be in your own room, and this is what you're doing. And it's like, she was like, no, I'm okay. And he was like, nope, you got your own room. Nope, can't.
Well,
do it.
I mean,
okay,
so I feel like
listen.
Again, he's playing with what's in his head, right?
Yeah.
Because like the first time he tried ever, right? That was like the first time, right? When he was at the bar, and he comes up, he's like, I didn't. Well, am I still a virgin if I didn't, if I didn't complete? Yeah. So, and then
yes, you are, sir.
No, I don't think
that John was looking at him like, I saw what you did.
Right. I know.
I don't think he's still a virgin because there was penetration. So.
Well, okay, but so he couldn't get in the right headspace.
Right.
There.
To let it go.
And the dream,
more like a chicken dog.
supposedly a dream, because
he was asleep. He was like unconscious. He was dreaming. He wasn't in REM sleep, but he was in like, subconscious. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was able to, is what I'm saying.
Completely.
Okay. He was able to.
Well, yeah, because, like men have wet dreams when they're asleep and they come. So, like, that's not.
Oh, that you're saying it was a wet dream.
Yeah, it was a wet dream. Totally.
I think he was worked up for Cormia, and he could smell her. He knew that jasmine scent, and he was like, well, shit, that jasmine scent right here. And then his mind filled in. We weren't in his head, so that's hard. Right. Yeah, we were in her head. She was having her a good time, and I was like,
she was liking that. She was like,
not only that, she's like, finally, I'm gonna succeed. Right?
I'm gonna succeed at getting this thing. And and he won that. He'll mess up a wet dream. You know that saying, like, Fury is the person that will mess up a wet dream. I do love Fury. I feel like a lot of ways he's a womanizer. He can't get out of his head to enjoy himself. I think he just stay like, no, you do this, you do what I say, I know what's best. And I'm like, sir, you gotta like like, you can't even like fall in love because you're so into your head. Maybe if you get off that dope, you'll be able to see clearly. I'm not going down there. We got another book before we get to that. But I just, he was so frustrating. I was so frustrated with him. Like, you can't even enjoy this woman who is like ready, willing, and able. But what were you gonna do if you had been the one Bella chose? Like, what were you gonna do? Just look at her the whole time? Like, what were you gonna do?
That's why it was a safe bet. He didn't have to act, and he will never be able to act, right? He wanted her so that he couldn't. He wasn't going to be able to do anything,
He's contented. He's contented with
the need to
what
want.
he can't have.
Yeah.
Right. Which is
almost like he wants to punish himself by withholding the stuff for himself.
Mm-hmm. And it's safer, right? So
True.
when you pretend that you are content in the way you're doing things, then your heart's safe, your emotions are safe, your whole life stays the same, and you can stay and say, I did this because I felt that it was important and I felt like I was doing something. But really, all it really means is he was guarding himself from all hurt and pain or joy that can come from being open.
But I also think that he thinks that he doesn't deserve happiness or pleasure. So he withholds stuff from himself to suffer, because,
I think in the past, yes. I think now he just doesn't know how to deal with it. Like he's
awakening to the fact.
Yeah, he's awakening. He just doesn't know how to deal with pleasure or with not being needed and not saving something and I think he mentioned that he's still a little afraid that if something happens to Bella and Young that he'll have to go back to everything. So he's kind of like, I'll just wait and see how things go so that if I have to save my brother again.
They're just all excuses.
Yeah.
You can do that with a mate. You could be ruthless to rescue your brother. You know what I mean? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So then, we'll go on a little more secondary characters. Quinn, we get to meet Quinn a little more and find out that his sire is a douchebag. Quinn has his 2 different color eyes, which are beautiful. They're not defective, even though the Glamera thinks that. And, his sire punches him because he, why didn't your eyes fix themselves?
Let me see if I can fix it myself.
And I just thought it was really kind of, when Lash is making fun of him about being mismatched and, because they're first cousins or whatever. And which I didn't remember that they were first cousins, so that was interesting. But, Quinn's just like, I'm going to fucking kill you one day. Just like, I don't know. But then, he has to go excuse himself to go to the into the locker room to compose himself. After that, because it just really hurt him very deeply.
Yeah.
Such a deep-rooted hatred.
Lash is such a douche. Lash and his entire family seems to be a bunch of dicks. I don't.
They're a bad.
I with the Glamera, I never understand. Like the wives are always so absent. And the husbands and the men get to do whatever they want to do. And the Glamera is always like,
yeah.
It's just a lot,
They're traditional. Yeah, it's all crap.
Mm-hmm. I don't like it. I don't like Quinn has a horrible backstory too.
I know.
Even though he's wealthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I do love his friendship with John and Blade, though. I love that trio. I love how they protected John. I loved all of that.
Yeah, I did like even before Z, who, oh my God, his relationship with John was fantastic. And I think we talked about that in a little bit, but even before Blade was asked to kind of look out for John, they had just bonded, in this relationship. And I think it came at very much a time when John needed that because Tor kind of zipped out on him, but also at a time when Blade and Quinn needed someone as well, because I think Blade is a little bit more well adjusted, but Quinn definitely needed that friendship. And, you know, they mentioned, Blade was explaining to John, you know, that's why he comes over my house all the time, because his parents suck, you know, and it's just so nice to see them forge those types of relationships that, you know, they can really lean into when the world is up against them. So it's really good. So I really enjoyed that.
So John transitions in this book finally.
Finally.
So, but before he does, right before his transition, he meets Hex, who is, we know, Revenge's head of security. She's this badass chick. Looks like a biker chick. But also described as very beautiful, high cheekbones, you know, just, she's very attractive. But, you know, mannish. I kind of think that she has a softer side myself. I guess I don't really picture her being, like, butch.
I think she has muscles. And that's what they're
but she's lean. About. She's very lean and slender.
And you really don't see that in the other women in their world. Mm-hmm. I think that's what makes her stand out comparatively.
Yeah, and, you know, she has hips and stuff, so she's not like this washboard, you know, she's not like this straight up and down, you know.
No, I think she's curvy. I think she just has like she has a physique, and they're not described that way.
Yeah, and I think it's partially because of her genetics, so, you know, sympath. So Hex throws John up against the wall pretty much, and you know, frisks him, and he actually kind of liked it. You know, at first he was scared, and then he's like, if I could get a hard on, I would.
I think he very much loved that frisk down he got.
Oh yeah,
he was like, ooh, this girl is kind of handling me. He was also, he had transition. He had transition. Yeah, she didn't even care. She's like, whatever, give me this gun. What you doing with this? Give me this gun. Your little crazy ass. Just shook him up.
You know, but he stuns her too. Like, so he looks up at her at, like, right before she leaves the interrogation room, and just sends chills up her spine, you know, just his eyes, they were just so ancient, and just, so I think at that moment, I don't know, I think that was a moment that changed things for her. She didn't know it at the time, I don't think she knew it, but
I don't think so either.
You know, yeah, and but she was like really. It made her very curious. It made him stand out to her, and so, and then, you know, he also hears like some voice in the back of his head saying, John, you know, when she was around, pay attention to her. So it was like, you know, is this from his past life? We don't know yet, you know. So that was kind of that thing, and then I'm just gonna kind of go on, then you guys can like say your 2 cents.
Jump in. Jump in.
Yeah.
I think that was really the first time we saw her be feminine.
Right.
You know, I think it was the first guy, even though she slept with Butch, I think that was the first guy that made her stop and take a second look. Yeah. Even though he was pre-trans, I think that was the first time she was like, you know, at least in this series right now, that was the first time we saw her be like, whoa, look at this dude. Like, and he ain't even like a full grown man yet. He just little pre-trans, you know.
Yeah. And then he goes all badass on a couple lessers that attack Blade and Quinn, and that was pretty cool, because then he realized, hey, you know, this is what I'm meant to do. Because I think up until that point, he just felt kind of lost. And he didn't really
I thought I think we saw a little bit, like when he was in a training room, and
gun range, but
the gun range.
The best shot.
Yeah, I think we saw a little bit of his shooting skills there, and I was like, damn, that's really good. And then you know, later on when he you know, confronted the lessers. I fully didn't expect all that to happen. I think I forgot about that part too. I remember that the lessers were there. I just didn't remember that John took them down single-handedly, because they definitely was all over Blay and Quinn.
Oh yeah,
like they
So,
were
like,
they were
I remembered them being in awe. And I remember they were in awe in him. And it's not going to be the first time. Even later when he fights, I remember that they're always in awe of his power and his strength and his warrior capabilities, and that it always reminds them of his dad. Like, they're always like, wow, he looked just like D. Like, that was a D move. And he's always shown that strength.
Yeah, I remember that part with Zetas when he was like handing. I think we had talked about it before we even started reading it again. But where Zetas had kind of said, "Try this," you know, and changed it to the left hand, and everything just started to kind of fall into place. So I remember the brothers, but that part about the lessers where he had no instruction and was just able to kind of step in and resolve the problem. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's
I love John in this book and in the next book too.
And I can say, you know, maybe it seems strange that, like, okay, you have to switch his dagger to left-handed, changes everything, but actually it does, because I can kind of have a parallel story with my son. You know, he's left-handed, and he plays baseball, but when he first started playing, my husband was trying to teach him everything right-handed because he just didn't realize. He was young. He was like 2-3 years old. So he didn't understand that he was right-handed, even though I kept telling my husband, like, he's left-handed, because he would always everything was left-handed. And I'm like, he's left-handed. And so when he finally, one of his friends kind of pointed it out to him, I was like, isn't he left-handed? Like, why are you trying to, you know, and as soon as he put the glove and, like, got him a left-handed mitt, changed everything.
There's so many. I'm left-handed.
Changes everything.
That I can't learn to do because I'm left-handed. So my mom was trying to teach me to knit. I can't do it left-handed. I can't learn from her. She's right-handed. I'm left-handed, and I can't catch on.
So they have YouTube videos that show you. I'm left-handed too, so they have YouTube videos that show you how to knit and crochet with your left hand, because we are only 10% of the population.
I know.
It's totally useless information right now.
My husband are both right-handed, so it's funny that we have left-handed kids. So, because you have like a very rare chance to have a left-handed kid. But I have left-handed people in my family, and so does my husband. So. But yeah, it was like teaching him how to tie shoes was like, it was impossible, because
so I feel like it does make a big difference for John, for him to put that in his hand and then just completely see it. But I loved the emotion you get from Z when he was like, and he looks at him like, wow, you know, only one other person I know fought left-handed. Yeah. And it was your dad. Like, that right there, those moments that he has with him are just so sweet. Yeah. You know?
So I have to bring this up because I love John and Hex. So, but the second time John goes to Zero Sum and he has transitions, and Hex makes a point to go over and talk to him. I don't think she had to do that. She wanted to do that.
Oh, yeah, she did. Well, I think she was teasing him. Like, she went, first of all, he had transitioned. You know, he was, he wasn't doing that wrong, but he had came out, and, you know, and he's very tall and very, very strikingly handsome. And he was just sitting over there, you know, and she was fully expecting him to be with a bunch of broads, and, you know, but he wasn't. And I think that was surprising to her. And I think she couldn't help it. She just, you know, it was just like, you know, she rolled up. She was like, I got to go say something to him. And
and then you think, because John kind of senses that she kind of does a little kind of like a little laugh, like he feels like she knows that he like jacked off to her, thinking about her.
You know, she could read minds, right? So she really could
Oh, she can see it.
What he don't know is she a sympath, right?
No.
And
I don't even think he knows what a sympath is at this point.
Well, we know because of
we know,
Right.
yes, we know because of her and Revenge.
Right.
But
I don't think
but he has no idea what a sympath is, and I don't think they've trained him on what a sympath is because they don't.
Well, I don't even think he knows. He doesn't even know right now that Revenge is Bella's
he
brother.
knows.
Yeah, he knows.
No, he doesn't even know that Revenge is Bella's brother yet.
No, he doesn't.
Oh, well, because Bella doesn't even know, so they don't tell, you know.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So nobody knows all the shit except for Zetas, who is a very good secret keeper, by the way. You know, I think he was just like, he kind of had an inkling though that she knew, even though he didn't know she was a sympath, and I thought that was kind of cute too. He's like, damn, she got to know I did the deed to her today. Oh my god, that was the cutest.
He's so embarrassed. He's blushing. He's so cute, and he's like, I gotta go. I gotta go.
Yeah.
And he's thinking about, I gotta take care of myself in one of those bathrooms. No, I gotta go home and do this.
right now. I'm out. I got to deal with my situation in my pants. In my pants.
In your pants.
I think he was so grateful to Z for telling him about masturbation.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Poor kid. Poor Layla.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about Layla. I forgot. Yeah. So we can, she blames herself.
The problem with them is that Layla goes back to being a chosen and how devalued they are in you know, if they're not satisfying the warrior, then they're useless and they have no use whatsoever.
And they fail the entire population of chosen. I'm like, damn, like everybody, you failed them all.
Yeah, that was weird. That's weird because they're a collective.
Weird.
You know, they're treated as one. So one fails, they all.
Yeah, but, you know, somebody should have told them that men can be going through a lot of different shit, and it can impact their little wee wee.
But you know, like they're only taught the act, and they're not taught emotions and things like that. So
right,
you know, because John was all up, and he was sexed and ready to go, and then she touched him, and he's like, can't.
Well, it was just a flashback for him, right?
Well, he wasn't into it, and I think that
he
wasn't
into it. He was horny, but I don't think that he. Yeah.
I think mostly he was because into it. Had he not gone back in his head, then he would have been all for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for John, I don't think, because he's a victim of abuse, I don't think he can just, like Quinn, you know, Quinn was abused, but in a different way, right? So I think that, you know, it's kind of, I think Quinn uses sex as kind of a way to slap back at the mirror, like, I am awesome. You know, you just don't know. But for John, with his history of, you know, sexual abuse, and that being his first time, he has no, you know, idea of what love is like, right? And then to have this woman just placed in front of you on a serving platter, I don't think that will speak to him in a way that'll let him complete the act without thinking about his traumatic experience, because it kind of has that parallel, right? Like she's just there to service him, and that in a way that's probably the very thing that made him think back to his own instance of abuse.
Yeah, it was cool. It was like, I mean, yeah, because he doesn't have feelings for this female, you know, unfortunately. Layla's a sweetheart, but he doesn't emotionally want her. And if he was emotionally there, it would have been different. So.
Yeah, I think that's what John needs. Somebody that's gonna, you know, like really want to be there for him. And I think he don't know it, but it's a lot of them girls at Zero Sum that would have been there for him.
They brought him someone, and he's like,
I know. And then he still was like, and she was like, "Are you a model?"
Right, like, woo. And then John just like, I don't know who she talked to. Like, yo, she is talking to your ass.
Well, you know, and then when after the transition, when he accidentally bumps that guy in line because he, you know, was kind of a little bit uncoordinated still, you know,
Mhm.
and the guy, you know, he's thinking that the guy's a pussy, you know, because but it's like, no, dude, he turns around and sees this giant of a man who's got these big ass broad shoulders. I don't care who the fuck you are. You're 6'8", and this guy's what, 5'10"? Sorry,
Right?
dude. Sorry. That was my fault.
How tall is John? John is 6'8",
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He's got it easy because he's the same height as Torin Wrath, or is it Torin Wrath? He's the same height as.
I don't know. I mean, they say he's brother size, but I know they do say at one point,
I
you
thought
know,
it was
Yeah, I
he's
can't
like,
remember
you
what
know,
I'll mark it.
birthday.
I'll watch out for it. I'll watch out for
yeah. There's more than one
That's a
reference,
big
I think,
dude.
in the books as they go on about his height. So,
Yeah, that's a
like
tall
Hex is
drink of
kind of
water.
described as like almost 6 feet,
Hmm.
then described as 6 feet. So it's hard to know, but you know,
Yeah, yeah. Well, the I think Marissa is the other tall one. I
yeah,
think
she's
she's
tall.
like
Yeah,
6 feet. Yeah,
she's
Marissa is
She
very
was described
tall.
as 6 feet. I remember because she
Hmm.
wasn't taller than Butch, but she was like his size until he
Hmm.
transitioned. But
And then Bella is after her, I think.
yeah,
I don't know why I remember this crazy shit, but anyway. So,
and Mary's taller, but not tall. Like she's like
that's tall.
5'7" or 5'8" or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, she's like
Yeah,
human size.
yeah, but tall for a woman.
Yeah, tall for a woman. Tall for a woman
Yeah.
for sure.
And then Beth, I think, is like 6 foot. But she was like already 5'10", I think, or 5. No, she
Yeah,
was
I think
already
she
that height.
grew.
She was already like almost 6 feet. So
Did
she
she
didn't
get
really
a
grow
little taller in the
that
track? I
fangs.
can't remember.
She
Like,
didn't
this is.
grow height wise. She just got fangs. But she
Oh, that's right. That's right. Right. Okay. Well, now we know. Now everyone knows the height of the Shellens and Hex. And Hex.
well, and like I think the chosen are all around the same height, which is like near 6
I think so too. I think they're probably like 5'11" though. Like all of them.
Yeah.
Like almost 6 feet tall. I think they're all like very similar.
Yeah, except their hair color.
Except the hair
I mean, they have different sires.
color,
with them,
eyes
so
too.
they
Their
don't
eyes
all
are
have the same
different.
eye. They don't have all the same sire. They don't. There are some of them are older. Like Layla's older than Carmia. So I think they said how old she was, but I can't remember.
I do think that they came into being in different ages, but
Yeah.
I think they're all kind of, because they've been waiting around for what, 75 years or something like that. And
A
then
long time. A long
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
And don't forget, like, you know, I mean, the last Primal, it was like taking shifts, right? So it's like,
right. Yeah, and they don't all get pregnant at the same time. I think they're always fertile, but they don't all get pregnant at the same time. But they do definitely lose their children, like regular,
And so of
vampire.
course they're gonna die. They have nothing to live for. They have zip. They don't have the love of a male. They don't have their child. I mean, they have nothing. They are nothing.
that's all they know. That's
Yeah.
that's the thing about them. That's
Yeah, but
all
that's the
they
thing.
know.
They don't all feel like
Carmia.
that's okay. Carmia didn't. She doesn't feel that way. Yeah,
Well,
she has to do
Carmia
it out of
didn't.
duty, but she doesn't really want that.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to be the prime. No, so she doesn't. I see. The way I took it was she didn't want to be like the main wife. Like she didn't want to be the main female. She would be okay with just living her life the way she was living it. She didn't want that change. She didn't want to be responsible.
I felt like she wanted to know what was on the other side. Like I feel like I feel like she didn't want to be any. I feel like she didn't want any of it. Like I think she was like, it's got to be more than sitting around waiting for some dude to boink you. Like I can't. Like what 1989 right there boinking. But I feel like they she was so wildly different than the rest of them because they did seem to behave in the same way as Layla. Like a lot of them seemed like that was their primary directive. Let's get a brother. And they seemed like happy and contented with being in that role. But Cormia allowed her mind to wander. And I think...
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say that some of them choose to fall. So obviously there are some free thinkers. Because you can't expect, they all have different personalities, so you can't expect, everyone to want to conform at the same rate, at the same, it's just not nature of people, so.
Yeah, I think maybe they had more access before, and I don't remember if they ever go into that, but before they sealed it off.
Yeah,
I think they had more access, so I think a lot of the ones like Murder's Mom, shit. Well, anyway. So there are fallen children. Yeah. So I'm gonna shut up because I'm about to give away plot points.
No, the one plot point you said was actually in this book, so we're okay.
Was it? Oh, thank God.
Lord. Oh, yeah. The fallen children that was murdered, son of murder's father. Yeah.
So maybe we should move on from The Chosen.
Yeah, let's do that because.
Well, I really don't have much. I mean, we've talked about everything that's on this list.
All right.
Except for if V is a Gemini or not.
Oh, well, yeah, we could go there. What is the?
Well, I don't know. He doesn't.
Is he my twin?
Might be. I don't know if he's a Gemini or not. He might be a Taurus because they have May birthdays too.
It's like from 20. Gemini started on the 21st.
Yeah.
Of May, so he could be either a Taurus or a Gemini.
I'm gonna go with Taurus.
He actually has more Taurus traits to me.
Yeah,
I don't know what the Taurus traits are. What are the Taurus traits?
Grouchy a little bit.
They're a little bit more assertive than a Gemini. He's on the cusp because he's moody. Like a Gemini.
And he does have
love for Gemini, but so I don't know. I think he's a good balance of the two. If he's born a certain cusp, he may be a balance of the two.
Right.
I don't know. Geminis are interesting, but they don't
use your words carefully.
They don't seem. I love Geminis. I do. But I think that he has to lean towards Taurus just because he's so stubborn. Like Geminis sometimes are stubborn, but V is like beyond stubborn. So maybe somebody knows. I tried to Google it, but it didn't come up. I was like, what is Vicious's birth sign?
Oh, wait, didn't we? You said only gave us the year, right? In that book that you had?
It only gives you the month and the year, or the year, right?
Just the year.
Yeah, just the year. And so, and I don't even know. I don't even remember where it was in the book. I have to go back through it again because I bought this a long time ago, and it's the Insider's Guide.
Like on page 4 something. I don't know.
So actually, and just so people know, if you don't know, probably most of the people that look at this know, the story for Quinn and Bella's baby Nala.
Not Quinn.
And
not Quinn. Zeta.
Not Quinn. Z, I got Quinn on the mind. Z and Bella's baby is in here, and it's called Father Mine, and it's not. To my knowledge, it's not anywhere else. And we're debating on if we're going over the novellas right now. But anyway, it's a really good book. It has a lot of reference points in it, but I think it ends at 2000. What did you say? 2007. Yeah, so there's a lot more that happens after 2007.
I really hope she writes another one.
I think that you absolutely have to have one.
Yeah.
at
We
this
talked
point.
about it, but it's like having the time to do it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's up to like 2 books a year now at least, and then a novella, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
That's a lot.
that's a crazy
That's a lot of
writing
writing.
schedule. Oh, tail snap.
I
So,
need to do better with my own writing.
all right. Well, so
Right.
you guys have any last thoughts?
Um,
We'll have to wait until the next book because because the next book
there's
is
a lot.
in Shrines. That is Fury in Cormia's story.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what the secondary story is in that one.
Is it red?
No, it's
Because he's pretty much meets his mate in his story. So,
Revenge.
I mean, I'm sure he's in it, but
Revenge on Elena.
but he doesn't meet her until his book. So,
Who Revenge on Elena? I don't know who the secondary is. Maybe it's a lot of John in there.
Oh, you know what? There is a lot of John, I think.
oh, you know what? Yeah, because it's also like one of those pivotal books too, where
Yeah.
We learn more about his father, right?
Yeah.
In this book too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And then so it's a lot about John for the next couple of books.
Yeah.
So
Which was it's good because we talk about John a lot and we like him, so it'll be good to actually have more material to talk about.
Yeah. Well, so we gotta get through when we get through. I just can't wait to get to Revenge. Oh my god!
Oh, you got one more book, baby.
Woo! Oh Lord!
So, does anybody have the cover of? I don't have the Lover and Shrine book. Can you hold that?
I don't actually have that one in. I don't have that one in print.
I have it
You
in
don't?
paper.
Oh, there you go.
No, because I've been collecting them hardcover, and
I have the hardcover.
that one is the only one. That one and the first 3 I don't have.
I have most of the books, but this is Lover Enshrined. I don't have the hardcovers, and I'm working on them. But I just, you know what? I just really hope that one day. I guess that would be my final thoughts. I really hope that one day, like all of the books are released, because I would buy them all. Like I would buy them all, every single hardcover that I don't have. That would be my wish right now. But Lover Enshrined is next week.
Yay!
Yay!
Yay! No, I know. Well, we'll see how Fury does.
He'll win us over hopefully by the end of the next book.
Okay, so thank you for joining us, and we hope you tune in next time. And as always, please leave a comment, and please subscribe to our channel. That would be great. Thank you. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.